So, my husband and I have been married 20 years, and the last few years I've made it my mission on trying to figure out how to love a spouse who has sin, or could be currently living in sin. And I'm not saying that it's just my husband that has sin, both spouses will sin in marriage. Since sin can hurt the other person, it's been one of my goals to try to figure out how I can still love my husband even though sometimes he makes choices that I don't agree with, or sometimes he makes choices that hurt me. So today I just want to talk a little bit about the silent treatment, or those times when you feel like your spouse is avoiding you to control your emotions by not talking to you. In our marriage, I'm sure some of that has gone on. No one is exempt from temptation. We're not exempt from sin here. So I'm sure it's something that we've both done over time. But I wanted to give you some new perspective about the silent treatment. And that is that sometimes it's just a time to process things. For a long time, when I was bothered by something, I would have a hard time knowing how to talk to my husband about it, and I couldn't quite figure out all my feelings at the time. So sometimes I would take a couple hours or a day or two to sort of let everything process in my mind before I was able to finally figure out what was going on. And if you start looking up things like narcissism and manipulation and all that kind of stuff, what that will be called sometimes is like the silent treatment or other things that are similar. But I was sure the reason I wasn't talking about the things that were bugging me wasn't because I was manipulating, but because I was just trying to process the things that were going on and really understand all my feelings and emotions about it. That doesn't change just because your spouse is doing the same thing. It would be easy for me to say, oh, we're upset at each other. My husband's giving me the cold shoulder. He's giving me the silent treatment. And I'm sure we've been married 20 years. I'm sure it's happened. But that doesn't mean that's what's happening all the time. So sometimes it's just a matter of him doing what I have had to do, which is process the information and really get an understanding of how we're actually feeling about it. One of the best things you can do in this type of situation is give your spouse a little bit of space and a little bit of grace. I'm not saying avoid him because it can feel like they're avoiding you. But what I'm saying is don't make things weird and don't get offended by it. Just let your spouse take time to process something. And, if you feel like it's taken a little bit longer, you can always talk to them about it. I usually like to check in with my husband and just make sure he's doing okay. Spiritually or emotionally, or just making sure he's still getting his needs met while he's still trying to process the information. But don't get weird about it and offended like you maybe start getting an attitude because you don't understand why he's talking and you think he's just manipulating you to control your emotions, because that's not always what's going on. And so the best thing you can do is just space and grace. It can be hard and difficult sometimes, but you just keep going on throughout your day and life in confidence and in God's peace, and understanding that, hey, you guys are committed to each other. Everything's fine. Everything's good. But there is a time for that people need to process stuff. So I just want to encourage you that if you're in this type of situation right now, before you feel like maybe you're getting the cold shoulder or the silent treatment, maybe something else is going on, and maybe it could just be as simple as your husband trying to process what's really going on. I hope this encourages you today, and I will chat at you later.